With me now, Sinan Ciddi. He's a senior fellow on Turkey at the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies, the FDD. Thank you very much indeed for being with us, Sinan. So Turkey's government seems to be trying to do some kind of damage control today, would you say? They're trying to get on top of these reports. What do you think is happening exactly?
Right, so we saw reports emerging yesterday from unnamed officials. I think there was one unnamed Arab source suggesting that Turkey was going to step up to the plate to permanently locate Hamas outside of Qatar to Turkey. We obviously don't know the veracity of it, but now we're seeing the Turkish officials refute that, and that's based on, I'm assuming, from the anticipated pressure that they would feel by an incoming second Trump administration, which obviously is poised to be pretty staunchly in support of its Israeli ally, and Turkey does not want to face recriminations. But it should be acknowledged that Turkey doesn't have to be, name it what you want. Hamas is already institutionally located inside of Turkey. It has been since 2011. There are offices, there are personnel, there are NGOs linked to Hamas, and they have official linkages to the sitting Turkish government with designated Turkish parliamentarians advocating on behalf of Hamas and securing meetings with the president. And it doesn't have to be officially named for it to be in existence, which it already is right now.
So could you imagine President Erdogan taking that extra step then and hosting Hamas? Because that would win him points, wouldn't it, with Muslim Brotherhood supporters? It might not go down too well with incoming President Trump.
I mean, sure. I mean, he hasn't shied away from doing this in the past. To be honest, I don't actually know qualitatively what would change if he said we're now officially the home base for Hamas outside of Qatar, it wouldn't change because the incoming Trump White House and its proposed officials, for example, the Secretary of State, which is nominated as Marco Rubio if he's confirmed, or other senior national security professionals who might take up their posts, right? They already have commented on Turkey's extensive ties and positioning of Hamas inside of Turkey. They've expressed concerns in the past, even before they were nominated. I mean, I would just reflect and say I'm not sure he needs to do anything to take an extra step or not. I mean, fundamentally, Hamas exists in a significant capacity inside of Turkey institutionally. I would argue even as far as it exists as it does in Qatar, right? It has existed since 2011. It has offices. It has an active supporting government. It is able to fundraise, recruit, planning terrorist operations inside of Israel. We have seen 8 tranches of U.S. Treasury sanctions taken out against Turkish entities that have aided and abetted Hamas in the last 12 months, if not prior to that also. We have seen significant amount of fundraising and money transfers that go between Turkey and into Hamas's operating accounts in Gaza. I'm not sure what this, how this would be qualitatively different than what potentially happened. What actually happens in Turkey hitherto.
And I'm just wondering, are you seeing any sign of change in Erdogan's foreign policy, given that we've got President Trump taking power in January, and we know that Trump has spoken quite harshly about President Erdogan in the past? Are you seeing any changes in policy, perhaps in particular in relation to Turkey's land grab in Syria?
Nothing as of yet, as far as I can see. Initially, Erdogan was overjoyed with Trump's re-election into the White House. He actually called him and spoke to him on the telephone. But then as the sort of drip of nominations has started to come in about who some of these national security and foreign policy staffers will be inside of Trump's White House, including Secretary of State, the nominee Marco Rubio, but also Secretary of Defense, but also Director of National Intelligence here. These nominations have all historically had problems with Turkey's positioning towards sort of critical Middle East portfolio that the United States considers. And they may make Erdogan's life very difficult. We know Marco Rubio has really been sharply critical of Turkish foreign policy, not just in relation to Hamas in Gaza, but also Turkey's attitude towards Russia, also Turkey's posture, as you say, in terms of northern Syria, where Turkey has been continuing to attack and launch military strikes against U.S. allies or U.S. partners, I should say, in the Syrian Democratic Forces. Unless Erdogan really does some soul searching and reconsideration of his priorities, he may be in hot water, but he also may be calculating that essentially he may be able to get Trump to buy into his sort of worldview, but we'll have to see.
Sinan, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Dr. Sinan Ciddi there at the FDD.